Before we begin, let me just say, this is a brand new take on the Fantastic Four story. It's not connected to any of the previous versions. In this one, we witness a massive battle between the Fantastic Four and a terrifying alien force, one that's way bigger and stronger than them. Its mission? To wipe Earth off the map. But humanity won't go down without a fight. As the world unites, the question becomes, can the Fantastic Four protect the planet from a cosmic-level threat, or will this be Earth's final day? Our story begins inside the Fantastic Four's headquarters. Sue is in the bathroom, taking a pregnancy test. When she comes out, she tells her husband Reed that it's positive, she's pregnant. At first, they're shocked. They've been trying for a long time, and nothing had worked until now. But once the news settles in, they're overjoyed and promise to do everything in their power to protect their child. Soon after, we see a TV host presenting a special segment celebrating the Fantastic Four's 4-year anniversary. He retells their story for the viewers. For close friends, Reed Richards, his wife Sue Storm, her brother Johnny Storm, and their buddy Ben Grimm were astronauts on a space mission when a mysterious cosmic storm hit their shuttle. The storm altered their DNA, giving them extraordinary abilities. Reed gained the power to stretch and elongate his body like rubber. Sue could emit powerful force fields and even turn invisible. Johnny became the Human Torch. He can ignite into flames and fly at will. Ben, however, was permanently transformed. His entire body turned into rock, giving him incredible strength, but also leaving him unable to return to his human form. Despite his appearance, kids love him, and he even has his own cartoon series. Since then, the Fantastic Four have been Earth's defenders, taking down criminals and fighting off global threats. The public adores them. After the host finishes the recap, the crowd cheers wildly. Back at their headquarters, the team returns and lets their robot assistant, Herb, prepare dinner while they change out of their superhero suits. As they sit down to eat, Sue shares the big news. She's pregnant. The team is ecstatic, already thinking about welcoming a new member to their superhero family. The media quickly picks up the story, and it spreads like wildfire. But everyone has the same burning question. Will the baby be born with superpowers? Reed begins building a special device to determine whether their child inherited any unusual abilities due to their mutated DNA. But as he's working on it, an alert goes off. His deep space sensor picks up a strange signal. It turns out this isn't the first time. Similar signals have appeared before, but no one has been able to trace their source. Reed logs the data, and Johnny offers to investigate it further. Meanwhile, Reed shows Johnny another invention he's been working on, a teleportation device capable of moving physical matter across space in seconds. It uses massive energy columns that act like a gateway, but the power required is so intense that it causes blackouts. Johnny lights up the room using his fire powers to help Reed continue his work. While Johnny examines the space signal, he realizes it's written in the same strange language as the previous ones, but still, he can't decode it. Around the same time, Sue asks Reed to run a scan on the baby to see if there's anything unusual. To comfort him, she uses her powers to let him visually see the baby inside her womb, assuring him everything looks normal, nothing strange at all. Some time later, the team is gathered at the dinner table, just getting ready to eat, when suddenly a security alarm goes off. They rush to check the source and look up at the sky. There's something like a massive explosion lighting it up. Without hesitation, Johnny bursts into flames and rockets toward it. He spots a strange figure descending from the sky, an alien. It lands in the heart of the city, and everyone around is stunned by its appearance. The media captures every moment live. The alien introduces herself as Shulbal, a herald sent to deliver a grim message. Their planet is doomed. She explains that a powerful cosmic entity known as Galactus, also called the World Eater, is heading toward Earth, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop him. His energy is beyond anything they've seen before. She urges humanity to spend their final moments in peace rather than resist a force that cannot be defeated. Her job is to deliver the message and prepare the planet for its end. After delivering her warning, she shoots back into space. Johnny flies after her and catches up for a moment, but she speaks to him in her alien tongue. He can't understand a word. She blasts him with an energy wave that sends him crashing back to Earth. Back at the headquarters, the rest of the team discusses what they just witnessed. Could it be true? Could there really be a being out there capable of devouring entire planets? Reed runs a quick scan and makes a terrifying discovery. Several planets have gone missing from the galaxy. Traces of cosmic energy near each one match the same signature that Shulbal left behind. This confirms it. Wherever she appears, that planet soon disappears. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the team decides they have to act fast. They'll follow the signals left by Shulbal into deep space and try to reach Galactus before he gets to Earth. Maybe they can reason with him or stop him. Meanwhile, Johnny continues analyzing the alien signals and confirms that the message Shulbal spoke to him matches the same unknown language found in previous transmissions. He's determined to decode it and learn what it means. Before setting off into space, the team dons upgraded suits specially designed for this mission. But before they launch, they go live on national television to address the public. People everywhere are panicking after hearing Shulbal's prophecy. Reed speaks calmly and confidently, telling them they're going into space to confront Galactus and will do everything in their power to protect Earth. The crowd rallies behind them. The launch is televised. The Fantastic Four board their spacecraft and enter FTL mode, faster than light travel, tracking the alien signals toward their source. They don't know what Galactus looks like, how powerful he truly is, or how to defeat him. Everything about him remains a mystery. They arrive at the last known coordinates of Shulbal's energy trail. It's a seemingly quiet planet, nothing out of the ordinary. But suddenly, it erupts with massive energy. The planet begins to collapse in on itself. Sue quickly cloaks the ship to keep them from being hit by debris. Moments later, the entire planet vanishes. Galactus has consumed it. This planet, they realize, was over 13 times the size of Earth, and it was wiped out in seconds. A wave of energy then locks onto their ship. Galactus scans it, ignoring everything except for the unborn child in Sue's womb. Moments later, Shulbal reappears, this time aboard their ship. She tells them Galactus wishes to meet. She also scolds them for coming this far. According to her, their interference has made things worse. She teleports them to Galactus's massive ship. As they disembark, she explains that her job is to scout planets for Galactus to consume. Johnny asks her what she meant when she spoke in her alien language before, and she finally translates it. You should die with your people. They soon come face to face with Galactus, and what they see leaves them speechless. Standing before them is Galactus, an enormous, godlike being with a voice that echoes like thunder. He tells them he wasn't always this way. Billions of years ago, he was once immortal, a being like them. But something strange happened. His body changed, and with it came an endless hunger, one that could only be satisfied by consuming entire planets. He reveals something that shocks the team. He knows why they've come. He knows they want to plead for Earth's survival. But then he drops an even bigger bombshell. Their unborn child has unimaginable cosmic potential, a power beyond what any of them can comprehend. And that child, Galactus says, is destined to inherit his throne. Galactus makes them an offer. If they give him the child, he will spare Earth. He says if he consumes the child, the energy would sustain him for billions of years. His hunger would finally be silenced. No more planets would need to be destroyed. Earth would be safe. Naturally, Reed refuses. But Galactus doesn't argue. Instead, a beam shoots from his eyes, striking Sue, and it causes her to go into instant labor. As she begins giving birth right there on the alien ship, chaos erupts. Johnny unleashes a fiery blast to protect them. Shulbal attacks, but Ben Grimm, the Thing, intercepts her. Reed and Sue take advantage of the distraction to escape with the baby. They sprint toward their ship and dive into a narrow corridor where Galactus can't reach them. They keep running, but Shulbal reappears and blocks their path. Sue stands her ground and uses her powers to knock Shulbal out of the way, giving them just enough time to escape. They make it back to their ship and prepare to leave. Their only chance is to activate the FTL drive, but they need to position the ship just right. As Reed tries to stabilize the ship, Shulbal regains consciousness and begins chasing after them. The team scrambles. Ben tries to align the ship with the FTL portal. It's a delicate process. Any error could destroy them. Just as Shulbal catches up and attempts to rip the baby from Sue's arms, Ben finally locks the ship into position, and they make the jump. The ship blasts away at light speed. Shulbal is thrown back and ejected into space. But she isn't giving up. Inside the ship, Reed and Sue are desperate to help with the birth. Sue struggles. The labor is tough, and she lacks the gravity needed to push. Still, she gives it everything she has. Then, something terrifying happens. Sue vanishes. Reed panics, but moments later she reappears, She had pushed herself past her limits using her powers. The baby is born, and to everyone's relief, he looks completely human. They name him Franklin. After a month-long journey, the team returns to Earth. Crowds cheer their return, assuming they defeated Galactus and saved the world. Reporters swarm them, demanding to know what happened in space. But instead of lying, Reed tells the truth. They didn't defeat Galactus. They bargained with him. He offered to spare Earth if they gave him the baby, but they refused. The crowd falls silent. Then, outrage. People accuse them of putting the entire planet at risk just to protect their child. Reed and the others walk away from the press conference as chaos brews behind them. A reporter stops Reed and bluntly asks, "So, is Earth safe or not?" Reed, visibly shaken, can only respond with a quiet, honest answer. "I don't know." Back at the Fantastic Four headquarters, the mood is tense. The team regroups, trying to figure out their next move. Reed throws himself into complex equations, searching for any possible solution to stop Galactus. But nothing is working. They're all feeling the weight of the world, literally, on their shoulders. Johnny is suiting up when Sue walks in and asks why he's already in uniform. Instead of answering, he hands her a helmet. He wants to show her something. He plays back a recording, an alien message that Shulbal had spoken to him during their earlier encounter. Alongside it, he shows her the signals they had been receiving from deep space, all written in the same alien language. Now that he has a single translated word from Shulbal, he's breaking it down, trying to decode the entire language. If he can understand messages, maybe they'll uncover a clue to stop Galactus. That night, Reed continues working nonstop. He's running simulations, doing tests on his son, trying to learn more about Franklin's potential powers. But nothing is helping. Meanwhile, Ben sees news reports showing that the public is turning against them. People are furious, scared, and starting to give up hope. Protests break out all over the world. Ben goes out for a walk and sees the change firsthand. People who once admired them now curse their names. When he returns home, government officials are on TV blaming Reed and Sue for putting the entire planet in danger, calling them selfish for choosing their child over humanity. Sue loses it. She shatters the TV in frustration. Things escalate quickly. Protesters gather outside the Fantastic Four building, chanting and holding signs. Inside, the team sits in silence, unsure of what to do next. Reed says the people have every right to be angry. They're scared, and they have no plan to fall back on. Sue storms out of the room, angry at Reed's comment. She heads to her son's room. Reed follows her and reassures her that he didn't mean it that way. Of course, he'll never hand over their child. But he admits that right now they don't have a plan to stop Galactus or protect Franklin. And that's the real problem. They're running out of time. Then, without telling anyone, Sue makes a bold move. She walks outside with baby Franklin in her arms, right into the middle of the angry crowd. She stands on a platform, facing them head-on. Cameras turn. The crowd goes silent. "I wanted you to see the child you're all afraid of," she says. "You're scared of someone you haven't even met yet, all because of what he might become." She tells them she's not willing to sacrifice her son for the world. But she's also not willing to sacrifice the world for her son. They became the Fantastic Four not because of their powers, but because people believed in them. And now, more than ever, they need that support again. She ends her speech by saying, "We have to stand together, as a family, as a planet, and fight. No more fear. No more blame. Just unity." The crowd is moved. They erupt in cheers, finally understanding her message. Meanwhile, far out in space, Shulbal returns to Galactus, ashamed that she failed to retrieve the child. She asks him why he's so desperate for the baby. Galactus answers coldly, if he consumes even a single drop of the child's energy, his eternal hunger will be satisfied for billions of years. The power inside Franklin is unlike anything he's ever encountered. He tells Shulbal to return to Earth and not to fail him again. Back on Earth, time is running out. Reed finally cracks it. He's found a solution, or at least the start of one. His plan? Teleport the entire planet to a different solar system, far away from Galactus's path. If Earth disappears into deep space, Galactus won't be able to find it. He announces the plan publicly. Using his experimental teleportation tech, he will construct a network of massive energy pylons around the globe. These columns, if activated at the same moment, will form a synchronized field powerful enough to move Earth to a habitable star system light years away. The only problem? The energy requirements are astronomical. The world responds. For the first time in history, every nation unites. Countries begin sending their energy resources and technology. All across the planet, giant teleportation pylons are built. News anchors call it the greatest act of global cooperation in human history. Meanwhile, Johnny finally decodes the alien language. Piece by piece, he deciphers the deep space signals and finally understands what they were saying all along. Messages of thanks sent from Shulbal's people, who had once been saved from Galactus by making a deal just like she did. Reed, meanwhile, is working harder than ever to perfect the teleportation tech. But as the final test approaches, he realizes the energy collected still isn't enough. To make this work, they'll have to shut off all electricity on Earth and redirect it into the pylons. The entire planet goes dark. Johnny finishes decoding the last of the messages. Some are messages of gratitude, others are cries for help from planets that Shulbal chose to sacrifice in order to save her own. Now he understands why she's been so torn and what she's been hiding. In a quiet moment, Reed is sitting with his newborn son. For the first time, he puts the science aside. He turns off all the monitors and scanners and whispers, "You're not a project. You're my son." He finally understands. The boy isn't a tool or a threat, he's family. Soon, the massive teleportation network is complete. Everything is ready. But just as the countdown to the planetary jump begins, disaster strikes. Shulbal arrives. She destroys the teleportation pylons one by one, triggering massive explosions and halting the entire sequence. The last remaining pylon, the final triangle needed for the jump, is still standing, but she's headed straight for it. Johnny intercepts her. They clash midair, fire against cosmic energy, in a stunning, brutal fight. But Johnny has something she doesn't, the truth. He activates a recording, playing the messages he translated, those broadcasts from her home planet. They thank her for saving them. Others beg for her forgiveness, mourning the world's lost because of her choices. He speaks to her in her own language. Shulbal is stunned. Johnny reveals what he's learned. She used to be a brilliant scientist from Planet Z. Galactus once came to consume her world, and she made a deal. She would become his herald, choosing his targets in exchange for her planet's safety. Her appearance, her powers, even her identity were forever changed. But now, she can no longer ignore the cost. In that moment, Shulbal breaks down. The weight of every life she's sacrificed is too much to bear. She flies away, disappearing into deep space. But before she goes, she warns Johnny one last time. Galactus is coming. If they don't give him the child, he'll come take him himself. With the teleportation network destroyed, the Fantastic Four are out of options. Galactus is on his way, and this time, he's not sending a messenger. He's coming to Earth himself. The team regroups, trying to figure out a new plan. Reed comes up with one last, desperate idea. If they can't move the planet away from Galactus, maybe they can move Galactus away from the planet. There's one teleportation pylon still standing. If they can lure Galactus into that final jump point, they can blast him into the far edge of deep space, alone without his ship, stranded. But how do you bait a being like Galactus? Reed hesitates. The answer is obvious, but unthinkable. The only thing Galactus wants is their son. Sue immediately catches on. "You are going to use our baby as bait," she says, furious. Reed tries to deny it, but the team knows the truth. He never stopped considering it. Sue vanishes in rage, using her invisibility, and takes baby Franklin with her, heading straight for the teleportation point. Reed chases after her, but then realizes something else. If Galactus comes to Earth's surface, the destruction will be catastrophic. They need to evacuate the entire city before it's too late. The next morning, the team reaches out to the Mole Man, who still lives in the underground tunnels. With his help, they orchestrate a full-scale evacuation. The city is emptied, and the population hides underground while the team prepares for one final fight. And then he arrives. Galactus's ship enters Earth's atmosphere, descending into the ocean. The water floods the streets. The ground shakes. Skyscrapers tremble as the Titan emerges from the sea. He begins scanning the planet, and he finds what he's looking for: the baby. Sue has placed the child inside a specially shielded pod and parked it directly inside the teleportation triangle. Galactus begins moving toward it. Every step sends shockwaves through the Earth. Buildings crumble. Streets crack. Just as he reaches for the pod, the Fantastic Four strike. They hit him with everything they've got. Ben slams a fuel truck into him. Johnny sets it ablaze. Galactus barely flinches. His body is made of some unknown cosmic alloy that shrugs off fire and brute force. Ben throws a punch, but Galactus grabs him with one hand and hurls him into the sky like a pebble. Johnny rockets after him, trying to catch him midair. Sue tries to stop Galactus with her force fields, but he swipes her away, knocking her unconscious. Reed climbs up Galactus's massive body, using his stretching powers to attack his weak points. It works. Galactus winces, but quickly recovers and grabs Reed, twisting his body painfully out of shape. Johnny and Ben come crashing back down from the sky and rescue Reed at the last second. But the team is exhausted, and Galactus is just getting started. He steps toward the pod and takes the baby. As Galactus holds baby Franklin in his colossal hand, the team watches helplessly. Sue regains consciousness and, despite her injuries, pushes herself up. She throws everything she has at Galactus: force fields, energy blasts, waves of raw power, but it's not enough. He barely notices her, but she refuses to give up. Channeling every last ounce of strength, she unleashes a massive energy surge that actually knocks Galactus back a few steps. It's the first time they've seen him retreat. Reed, Johnny, and Ben realize what she's doing. She's burning through all her energy to hold him at bay. Reed rushes toward her, telling her to stop, that it might kill her. But she shakes her head and whispers, "Go save our son." Then Reed notices something. Sue is deliberately pushing Galactus backward, toward the teleportation pylon. Suddenly, it clicks. This is her plan. Johnny races to the control panel and begins powering up the teleportation system. Galactus is fighting back now, resisting Sue's energy with his own. The strain is too much. She collapses, unconscious again. The others rush in to cover her, buying Johnny just enough time. The portal begins to open. Galactus, still clutching the child, braces himself as he feels the pull of the portal. Reed leaps forward, stretches his arm with precision, and snatches the baby from Galactus's grasp just in time. He dives away as the countdown reaches its final seconds. But Galactus isn't fully in the portal yet. Johnny makes a split-second decision. He knows what needs to be done. He turns to the others and yells, "Tell him when he's older that I loved him." Then he flies straight into Galactus, pushing him with all his might, straight into the heart of the portal. But just before Galactus can fully cross the threshold, Shulbal appears. In a final act of redemption, she grabs Galactus from behind and uses her power to force him completely through the teleportation gate, sacrificing herself in the process. The portal slams shut. It's over. The Earth is safe. The team rushes to Sue's side. She's unconscious, pale, and unresponsive. Her heart has stopped. They try everything, but it's no use. They lay baby Franklin gently beside her. The baby stops crying. He looks at her, and then something incredible happens. His eyes glow with an unexplainable light. A spark. A pulse. Sue gasps and suddenly opens her eyes. She's alive. Everyone stares in disbelief. Reed helps her sit up. She looks around, confused, and then down at her son. "I felt his power," she says softly. "He's not like us, he's something far greater." Outside, the people of Earth begin to emerge from underground. They cheer and celebrate. News stations all over the world broadcast their victory. The Fantastic Four are hailed once again as heroes. The celebrations are overwhelming. Crowds fill the streets. Reporters swarm the Fantastic Four, praising them for saving the world once again. But even with the cheering, the team carries the weight of what they just went through. During a live televised interview, Reed speaks honestly. He tells the public that Galactus was not destroyed. He was only banished, teleported to a remote corner of deep space. He warns that one day, the threat may return. But today, Earth is safe. One reporter asks, "So, what happens now?" Reed looks at his son and says, "Now we prepare." Later that evening, inside the Fantastic Four's headquarters, the team regroups to reflect. Ben watches the news. Despite the world celebrating their victory, many people are still uneasy. Some fear Galactus may return, others worry about Franklin's powers. Tensions are still high, but the hope is stronger than the fear. Reed and Sue sit quietly, holding their son. For the first time since this all began, they have a moment of peace. Reed looks at Sue and says, "He changed everything." Sue nods. "And he's going to change the world." In the background, Johnny's suit hangs quietly, a reminder of his bravery, his willingness to give everything for his family.
But they all know Johnny didn't die.
He survived, and he's still out there. Then, in a post-credits scene, we see a quiet section of deep space. Floating among asteroids, half-conscious but alive, is Galactus. We hear his voice, low and echoing. This is not over.